Half Size Me episode 682, brought to you by the amazing Half Size Me Academy. To become a member and join us, go to halfsizeme.com/join. Hello, beautiful listeners. I am your coach, Heather, and I am so excited to be here with you today and another one of my solo episodes, where today I am going to be talking to you a little bit more about GLP-1 medications, what I have observed working with my one-on-one coaching clients so I can help your situation. Maybe something I say here will click and you'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Or yeah, let me give that a try because that could be super helpful for me. And for those of you who have questioned, like, should I maybe consider this? And what should I expect if I were to go on it? Because I think the expectations really at the end of the day is what I am seeing. So I had a client come to me on Zepbound. The first month she dropped 20 pounds. So she was like, wow, really excited. The second month it was 4 pounds. And she's like, I just don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I said, you're not doing anything wrong. These medications, they're not forcing weight off your body. It's not like some of the drugs that have come out in the past where it literally jacks up your metabolism and it causes you to lose weight really easily. These medications they're giving you many benefits, but what I see directly is it's for some people, it's a little bit less thinking about food. It's easier for them to not eat or to delay eating, and it's easier for them to stop eating when they start to get full. I see all of those things as being really great benefits. But it's not doing something inside your body to create some kind of crazy weight loss. You know, when you think about bariatric surgery, and if you're listening to Sarah on the podcast Premium, we did an episode where she actually said that. My brain keeps going back to what happened for me on bariatric surgery and saying, this is taking too long. And that is kind of what I think is like a misnomer. Like some people might be on TikTok and Instagram sharing their stories and they seem to be losing weight at a very fast rate. I've seen other people who might lose 1 to 2 pounds a month, every single month while taking these medications. And they really have to have their diet dialed in. But the medications are like an assist. It's kind of like when you go bowling and you've got the pads in the bumper area to where you don't get a gutter ball. It's keeping the ball rolling down the lane to hit some pins, but you still have to pick up the ball. You still have to pull your arm back. You have to now release it. It has to have enough momentum. And how many pins you hit really comes down to how good your aim is, right? With or without the bumpers. So that's how I want you to think about this. It's not creating weight loss. It's giving you a better condition. And going back to our previous episode, it's giving you the time to build in habits that maybe you struggled building without the medication. The time to make protein your focus, the time to make fiber your focus, the time to make frequent meals and consistent eating your focus. So that way, if and when you were to choose to come off these medications, if that's the path you go down, or even if you're going to be on it indefinitely, you get the best benefit from these medications while you're on them, okay? Now, where I have been very interested to see this as a coach is kind of the emotional stuff that happens. So when we have a rough day at work, we come home, we have our routines, right? So for 30, 40, 50 years, you've come home, you've crashed on the couch, you drink a couple glasses of wine, you have a nice dinner, and oh, you feel good. So your association with feeling good is kind of doing these food-based behaviors, right? Well, on these medications, you will start to notice you're craving these foods less. You might not be looking for the wine. This medication, I've seen several clients totally transform their relationship with alcohol while on these medications. So you may not be looking for the alcohol when you come home. Maybe you're not craving the food, or you've realized eating highly fatty foods or heavy meals really upsets your digestive system. So you're actually adverse to doing that. Well, when you come home, what do you do to veg out? What do you do for yourself? And I see, and Sarah shared this in one of her podcast episodes on the podcast Premium, but you sometimes see people kind of detaching from doing the very things that they might have enjoyed doing it because it's sans food. So for example, if food is attached to every social get together, if food is attached to playing a video game, or food is attached to watching a movie, or food is attached to everything that you're doing, often you're getting a reward and benefit from that activity, but our mind associates it to the food. So for example, I'm going to sit down, snuggle on the couch, fam, I'm going to watch a movie, but I'm also going to have a bag of popcorn. I might falsely identify, my mind might falsely identify that warm, fuzzy, cozy feeling of sitting on the couch watching a movie with my family with the bag of popcorn. So now if I don't crave the bag of popcorn, I might see myself distancing myself. But in my own journey, without GLP-1 medications, without bariatric surgery, without any of this, just doing habits, I had to work on that. I had to start to disassociate everything that brought me a warm fuzzy, whether it was holiday get-togethers, trips and vacations, watching a movie, playing a game. I had to slowly and meticulously do a detachment where I would say, okay, I'm going to Thanksgiving. Outside of the food, what are the benefits I get from this? Connection with family, getting to kind of look back over my past and, talk about how these people are doing, like really make a social connection with somebody. When I sit down to watch a movie, I'm safe and secure. I'm with my family. I'm comfortable. I feel like I can just veg out and watch the movie and not have to think about anything, like that detachment from reality, right? That's an emotional need that's being met, but has nothing to do with the popcorn, right? And I had to go really slowly through that process. Vacations were difficult because those were more sporadic, and holidays were more difficult because, again, they're spread out. But over the years, I had to slowly disassociate all the feelings I had of comfort, happiness, contentment from the food item to the experience. Well, when you're on these medications, what maybe took me 10 years to do, it kind of is accelerated. Everything is accelerated. So as I'm coaching a client, we really have to start this process sooner. How are you going to find joy and enjoyment in doing these daily things that you've always done, but now it's without the interest in the food and you're not really craving the food, right? It's being mindful of that and realizing that that's something you're going to have to work on. The other thing is the expectation of weight loss, right? So we have this mentality, and I know it's sometimes hard. We think dollars for pounds. If I'm spending X amount of dollars and I'm taking this injectable medication, I should be seeing X amount of pounds of weight loss on my scale. And it's often reinforced by people you're following on social media. The weird thing about these medications, everyone has a different response. Everyone. I've not seen two clients have the exact same response, whether it's their relationship with alcohol, whether it's their relationship with eating, whether it's been their relationship with the scale and kind of what's transpired there. Like everyone really has had a totally different experience. So looking outside of yourself, really, in my opinion, is not a good idea. Focus on yourself. Know that these medications are not going to magically strip weight off your body. You're going to have to shift your eating behaviors. Your expectation of what probably should happen and how it needs to happen is not realistic. You're going to be doing that 1 to 2 pounds on average a week. That's just kind of been what I've noticed is a consistent trend. However, to get the best benefit, go back to the previous solo episode where I really talked about the frequent meals, the protein, making protein your first priority. And then what we want to also talk about a little bit today is the digestive issues. So one of the other things I see, it's like almost a little bit of an emotional thing, is often the foods you gravitated to before going on the GLP-1 medications, maybe some French fries, maybe ice cream, things that are highly fatty, fried, fatty, sugary foods, it can often, for many people, create digestive distress where you might be running to the bathroom a lot, feeling really out of control, feeling uncomfortable. It might even knock you out of commission for a few days, depending on how extreme it is. This creates a feedback loop. I eat X, this happens. It can be difficult at first to accept that and start to phase those foods out. Now, again, on a habit-based journey where you're not taking GLP-1 medications and you're not having had weight loss surgery, you are still probably going to do the same thing. You're going to start to notice those foods don't serve you, whether it's because of how it fits into your calorie budget or whether it's because of how it makes you feel. But you have a much bigger time frame in order to learn that for yourself without there being a consequence. On these medications, in my experience, what I've seen, there is a consequence for many people where when they consume X, Y happens. And that can create a shift in what you eat quite quickly because you don't want that result to occur over and over again. The reason that this becomes emotional is you have an emotional attachment to those foods. If you like Reese's peanut butter cups, but those seem to be the thing, then you kind of have to let them go. And it's that force of shift very quickly that can cause people some mental turmoil in this process. And this is, by the way, why I did a blog post in the Academy called There's No Easy Weight Loss. One of the things I feel is very tragic is people like to attach the word easy to bariatric surgery. They've liked to attach the word easy to GLP-1 medications. Where I stand, I see no easy way. Because if you go through bariatric surgery, you have to lose usually at least 10% of your body weight before you can even get the surgery. You have to pretty much do a high protein, low carb diet to prepare and get that weight off. You then have your stomach altered permanently, which then causes all kinds of interesting side effects after the fact. You have a 6 to 8 week recovery period. You've got a huge amount of money you're paying out of pocket in combination, I'm sure, with insurance. You then are on a primarily protein liquid-based diet for at least 6 months to a year. In there, a lot of people actually transfer their addiction to alcohol and other things because they haven't dealt with the emotional stuff, the habit stuff, all that kind of stuff. So that to me doesn't sound easy. Getting cut open, recovery, prep, the possible of transferring of addictions. That's one. The GLP-1 medications, not easy because it's expediting change that I may not be ready for. And it's creating a situation where I've got other side effects now. I have possibly digestive issues. I have vomiting. I have nausea. I have, all of these things. And I'm being suggested to eat a high protein diet on a regular rotating shift of frequent meals, right? And the very thing that I use to comfort myself no longer comforts me. So I have this kind of vast openness there that needs to be filled, but I don't know how to fill it because I'm over here all by myself doing this and I just feel depressed. And so habit change, which is what I did, right? Habit change took me 5 years, lost the weight, did all that. I gave myself a lot of time to figure that out, but I had to do all those things too, right? Like everyone at the end of the day has to build the habits, has to learn to put protein and fiber as your primary focus, has to learn to revamp their eating, has to have a different relationship with food. We all have to do the same thing. And these other avenues of moving are not easy. They come with their own inherent problems. And when we can get out of that mindset that someone somewhere is cheating the system, and until we find a way to make a magic wand that just makes you thin and that's it, right? Like there is no magic wand. There is no easy way. You're struggling on all fronts, but in different ways, right? And this is what I really want everybody to see. The sooner we can move away from that thinking, the more neutral all these decisions become. And you get to make the decision based on what you think in this moment is the best thing for you, whether it is or isn't. And I find that the struggle is that online people talk about things and they really don't get to observe what each individual goes through. And having watched people with bariatric surgery, having watched people using GLP-1 medications, having watched my clients that do neither, there is no easy. I promise you that. I've been coaching now full-time, full load for over 10 years, and there is no easy to this. There is various degrees of difficulty and difficulty in different areas, but it's going to bring its own set of difficulties. So you kind of just have to embrace it and say, I'm choosing this path because I feel this is best for me because of these reasons. And you've got to be good with those reasons for yourself, not anyone else, I promise you, no matter which one of these you choose, you are not picking an easy process. You're going to have to put in work. And that's really why I wanted to share this stuff with you and why I put the resources together in the Academy. And one of the things I didn't get to tell you is because I've been sharing all these resources, I have compiled all this information and put it into a book for you. It's called The GLP-1 Journey, Managing Expectations, Building Habits, and Finding Success. And this book is available in two places. One, you can find it in the HSM Academy in our resource hub area for GLP-1 medications. And if you are a podcast premium subscriber, just log into your Supercast account and you will find the post there with the PDF version of the book. So if you're listening to this and you're struggling at all, or you want to go a little bit deeper into this conversation and get more information, if you just want to become a podcast premium subscriber, you can go to halfsizeme.com/fan, sign up there. Once you join that, you'll have access to the book there. You can, of course, always join the Academy if you want to, too. Totally your prerogative. But I'm excited to be putting this content out because I just keep hearing back from more and more people. I didn't know what to expect. I was seeing a lot of stuff on social media. This is also new and exciting. I was seeing other people's journeys, and I didn't realize that there was a chance maybe I wouldn't lose as fast as somebody else, or that maybe I was going to have to really tinker with my medication levels in order to see some progress. So there's a lot of learning. Everyone's reactions to these medications is different. Some people are hyper responders. Some people don't respond at all. Type 2 diabetics, different expectations for you if you go on these medications and think you're going to lose a lot of weight. There's every type of person. Everyone's results are kind of unique to them. And so when you can kind of back up and see, oh, this is just a big science experiment we're having right now. We're not guaranteed anything. And the more that I tweak what I'm doing, the better results I might get with these medications. So I just want to encourage you, don't feel, any despair. Don't think you're doing something wrong. Don't think you're broken, because the reality is, again, this is just one big science experiment, in my opinion, at this point. We haven't had enough time with these medications to really know long term what's going to happen. And we see a few things on social media and we just buy into this idea that it's going to be the same for us. And really it's not. So if you want some more insight, check out my book, The GLP-1 Journey. To get access to that, go to halfsizeme.com/fan. I just want to encourage you more than anything, be patient. And there's a couple patience. One, patience with finding the right dose. This is a whole other emotional topic. Because you have been on and off weight loss roller coasters and yo-yoed before, you're going to say, this isn't working, right? There's going to be moments you're going to say that. You're going to say that with just habit change. Once you go through bariatric surgery and you're past that first year to 18 months, you might be saying this isn't working. There's always a point at which everyone hits, they say this isn't working. So as a coach, what I like to do is actually look at the facts. And then what we need to do is, if we think things aren't working, we need to tweak variables to make it work. And one of the ones with GLP-1 medications is dosing. As I mentioned in the previous solo episode, your dose that you're on at the beginning, 3 months, 6 months out, it's going to be affecting you differently than it is at the beginning. It's going to respond differently to your system. But you might think, oh, I'm going to shoot up to the next dose. That might be too much for you, or it might create a lot of distress in your body that you're not quite ready for. So you might be taking that for a few weeks, nothing happens, and then boom, all of a sudden you don't feel well. Well, you might want to come right back down. But here's the problem with these medications. When you've titrated up, it might take 2 or 3 or even 4 weeks of being on that new dose before you get the full effects. It has to kind of build up in your system. But then when you get the full effects and you realize, oh my gosh, I've got horrible whatever, I can't keep doing this, you want to really quick titrate back down. But the problem is now it's going to take you almost equal time coming back down before the level in your body changes to where you feel more comfortable. At least this is what's been reported to me from my clients. So it's a slow process to get used to the dose. but it's also a slow process to reduce the dose. So this dance back and forth of finding, we'll call it the Goldilocks, right? Not too little, not too much, just right. That can take time. Well, if you bought this medication and you decided to do it because you thought A, it was going to yield fast weight loss, and B, you thought it was going to be easy, and C, you thought the dose would just work for you, you can see how very disheartening that would be, right? Because you had an unrealistic expectation. The expectation is you're losing 1 to 2 pounds a week. Possibly it is that you are on this dose for a while until you titrate up, not knowing how your body's going to handle the new level, not knowing if that's right for you. It's kind of a gamble, but trial and error, just like calorie, trial and error, finding the right calories for maintenance, the right calories for a deficit. It's the same mindset you have to finding the right level of GLP-1 medications for you. So I just want to encourage you, patience with the process. If you're doing this thinking, I'll just take this medicine for 6 months or a year and then I'm going to get off of it, that mindset is no different than saying I'm going to do an extreme diet for this period of time and then I'm going to stop doing it. You've got to look at the long-term picture. You need to build the habits and think of this medication as the ability to have the time where you're not distracted, where you're not preoccupied with food, where you're a little bit better at controlling hunger and fullness, to where you can actually make these improvements in your life. You bought time. You aren't losing pounds as a direct result of just buying this medication. You're buying time to give yourself the opportunity to change your habits. So that way, whether you're on it for 1 year, 2 years, or indefinitely, you're able to eat in a way to support your health. You're able to eat in a way to where if you ever did want to come off the medications, you can. That would be my wish for you, is just to completely overhaul your thoughts about this process. Learn that it's about being patient with yourself as you figure all this out, and realize that there is no quick, easy path. They all require work. They all require dedication. They all require habit overhaul. Each one, though, each path requires that at a different rate based on what you choose to do. Okay. So I hope this solo series is helpful. I just wanted to really kind of weigh in on the GLP-1 medications, not from a medical perspective, but what I've witnessed as a coach, having multiple different clients at different weights, ages, medications, and consistencies that I am seeing across the board that might be helpful for you, either to maximize the benefit you're getting or to know if this might be the right path for you or not. All right, you guys have a fabulous week, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to visit halfsizeme.com. Check back often for your daily dose of inspiration, because you are worth it.
The information you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The host is not a medical professional. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.